right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Market Talk Monday with Isaiah and our gang at Foundations Investment Advisors. How was the weekend, Isaiah?
Great. Had a fantastic time hanging out with friends.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep.
And the week in review, it's been a little bit of a mixed market in terms of the world economy and
Yep.
kind of just a mixed bag out there in what we're seeing.
Yep.
So let's start talking through that and get right to it.
Yeah. I mean, the first big thing I guess that happened last week was global meters met in Davos. They were out there meeting.
The World Economic Forum.
Yep. Out there meeting. That's where President Trump came on and made his comments on Greenland and European tariffs. So that kind of ruffled the feathers in the market a little bit. But Trump did walk back his take of, I think for a little while, Greenlanders and all 57,000 of them and Europe thought we were going to use force to take Greenland. But he, in fact, did state we are not going to use force. But it's still at the top of his mind.
Military force.
Military force. We're going to position to buy it. And he wants it for more of the international security. And especially for us, like on this part of the region, the world that we're in, which some people point out, oh, Alaska and Russia's right here. They're already that close. So,
Well, that is a problem, and it's why we have a significant amount of military in Alaska.
Yep.
From the Air Force to the Army.
Yep.
It's necessary to protect our national interests and our sovereignty. So. Politically, whether you love it or hate it, that's to be debated.
Yep.
However, from a military point of view, and us being military guys and kind of having a little bit of
background there,
that background, not necessarily as a defense expert, but the position that I take is maybe someone would call me a nationalist for saying, I want to put the interests of America first and foremost in protecting our borders. And so policy-wise, I don't think it's a horrible idea. Does President Trump have the civility of the statesman we all want him to be sometimes? No. But for that fact, neither was Winston Churchill, and he was a pretty great leader when we go back and look.
Yeah, one of my college
history.
courses, I just read a paper on Winston Churchill.
Yeah?
I'll have to read it to you. It's pretty good. Okay.
Well, you can't do that to the audience. I mean, give us a little insight.
Yeah, you want me to? So back in December 26, 1941, Winston Churchill addressed the joint session of Congress. And the U.S. had already entered World War II because we had the attack on Pearl Harbor, and that's what brought us in. So Churchill's, the course I'm taking right now, it's part of one of my requirements for my economics bachelor's degree that I'm taking at Penn State. Go Nittany Lions. But it's one of the prerequisite courses I have to take. It's actually pretty interesting, though. So it breaks down rhetorical writing. Let me see. I have mine downloaded. I'll read the first paragraph for you. He came in, joint session of Congress, and he knew the U.S. had entered the war, but his proposition are taking ethos and pathos, which is a style of writing, and what someone's what someone's saying are in their speech. Churchill was really laying down of using the shared ideals that Americans have in working hard and perseverance, and he even brought up the Revolutionary War, talking about all of these things, but he did a fantastic job and when you use rhetorical analysis or any sort of rhetorical statements in your speech, it's really trying to persuade. And what he's doing is he's laying the groundwork of what we now know as NATO. So in my first paragraph, I didn't know our market talk was going to turn here, but I'll read the first paragraph. In moments of global crisis, words can determine if nations must choose to stand united as one or divided in the face of evil. The United States had newly committed to the war effort in World War II, while Great Britain had been in a constant fight against a fascist regime, leading to December 26, 1941, when Winston Churchill addressed a joint session of the United States Congress with a single purpose: to secure unwavering American support in a war that would demand immense sacrifice. Through a deliberate combination of brutal honesty, emotional appeal, and proven leadership, Churchill transforms his address into a powerful call for alliance, framing the war as a shared moral duty and an unavoidable path toward democratic victory.
It's pretty good writing there is. I'm impressed.
I do like
that that 7th grade writing class paid off, or was it 8th grade, somewhere along there? I forget what it was.
Yeah, I do like to write.
That's pretty awesome. Well, here's my thoughts on this, folks, and as it relays and correlates with the world we're in today. History, in and of itself, does what?
It repeats itself or leaves clues.
Leaves clues. So the clues that we're seeing today have a lot of correlation to what happened in the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about in our market commentary picking up this book written by Andrew Sorkin called 1929 that shows some clues that I think we need to be paying attention to and how markets behave.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are also big fans of Ray Dalio and Bridgewater Associates. And, he's written a couple of great books and Principles, The Changing World Order. And all of this goes back to, if we go back and look at history, history has a way of leaving these massive clues that shows us that in a lot of ways, these trends, these patterns and cycles.
In typical economics, they have their 20-year cycles. So the world goes through its 20-year cycles. My personal take, I like Dalio's take on 100-year cycles because the big swing. So you can see what happened 100 years ago, whatever happened in those dates, how the markets performed, and you go 100 years into the future where we're at presently. So you come 100 years now into the present, you can look at how markets are performing. And the reason I like the 100-year cycle is because if you look at how the Dow Jones was performing from 1921 all the way up to 1929, you can see that the NASDAQ has kind of performed similarly to how the Dow Jones was. So the Dow Jones had a big run. I forget the numbers off the top of my head. Had a big run in 1921, and then of course we had the Depression start in 1929.
The Roaring 20s, right? So we go through the Roaring 20s with opulence,
technological advancements, skyscrapers, automobiles, more high-powered, like their versions of telephones, and
the advent of the airplane and global travel. From steamships to now we can do it by air. Massive advances, and that's what we're seeing now with AI.
With AI and technology.
And so all of that leading back to some of the things that the White House has done that doesn't leave a lot of people hopeful, in our political realm. But in our financial realm, I think there's some very purposeful things taking place that we need to pay attention to and pay attention to those clues of the past. One of the reasons we plan the way we do and strategize the way we do is because we don't know what's going to take place. But if we have history as clues, we know that this massive run we've seen in the market since 2009 has a high probability of correcting, depressing, or recessing at some point in time. Recessing, depressing.
And there's already a little bit of, in my opinion, I'm still bullish on 2026 with the AI and tech space. But we are seeing a little bit of fear in the market, and you can see that come in with silver. Silver's up 15%.
Silver 101.
Closing at 101, about 101 an ounce. And then copper's up 2%. Gold's been on a run. Gold's up 8.3%, nearing $5,000 an ounce.
Yeah, I mean, just in my portfolio alone this morning, silver's up $104 an ounce. Using the SLV, the GLD's up 467.
Yep.
And so just the day change on silver this morning's up almost 12% as of the 26th.
You know what's super interesting about how gold's performing? And now look at what happened to the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
The U.S. dollar index is down 1.76%.
So as the dollar shrinks, people move towards safety. And I think we need to capitalize on that throughout the year.
I know we're a fiat currency and we're not on the gold standard, but it is super interesting still when the dollar is down how gold performs.
Yeah.
Even though we're not backed by a commodity or any sort of sovereign wealth fund or anything like that. But
I would slightly disagree with that, Isaiah, in that I think the world, even though we are a fiat, you're absolutely 100% great on that correct on that. There's no currency there's no commodity that backs our dollar directly. However, so goes gold. So goes oil. So goes the dollar. And, oil, I think, is the closest thing that we could say is what drives our dollar. And you look at how oil is used in our economy, from plastics to fuel. Keep an eye on that would be my thought. And that's just my, IMO, in my humble opinion. And so we don't get too far off on it, but, this market that we're in continues to be breaking new boundaries. But at some point in time, we have to be realistic that we're going to see corrections. And when you're in the retirement income distribution phase, when you're coming down the mountain, it's going to be super important to make sure that we have uncorrelated or non-correlated positions of your portfolio. We love making money. We love getting these returns we've been getting in the portfolio. What are we up year to date?
Let me go back to my little analysis sheet. So our big speculative model, that's our high risk model, is up 5.38% year to date.
What did it finish at last year? Like 63,
so I'll
73?
just do the 1 year return. 1 year from January 23rd of 26 to 24, and January 24th in 2025, it's up 80%.
Holy smokes. So nice run for clients who've had a piece of that in their portfolio. The core portfolio that you use,
it's almost at 2% year to date.
And year to date,
almost 2%.
I'm sorry, year to date, but year over year. So from January 26, 2025 to current.
About 17%. So right with the S&P 500.
But taking about 40% less risk than the traditional S&P.
Yep. So actually, it's beating the S&P 500 total return index did 14.5%, and our core 60 did 17.02.
Yeah. Now there's going to be some naysayers out there, like the speculators who went all in on gold and went all in on silver last year. Those two transparently performed really well. So the argument is the dollar got weaker while those commodities got stronger. So that's why diversification matters. So if you're not diversifying your portfolio, if you're not allocating money across a broad spectrum, you're putting yourself at the risk of
you can have an asset class. If you're not properly diversified, you could be overweighted in one asset class, and maybe that asset's historically not a very risky investment. But if you have too much of your assets in that one asset class, that does bump your risk score up. So if you have all of your dollars inside of gold, I mean, you're just basing your whole investment portfolio on how gold performs. Which that in of itself, if you have gold that's scores on our risk assessment scores like a 50, but if you have 100% of your assets in it, in my mind, that's a 99.
Right.
Because you're just taking a very bullish
all your eggs are in one basket. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. This week moving forward, economic calendar leaves kind of a backdrop for what we think the U.S. economy may be facing. So Fed meets this week.
They do.
And what's the office, and what are you guys thinking we're going to see happen?
Probably rates stay put.
Okay. 80%, 100%. Where are you at?
That's about, for me, I would say I'm pretty close, like at 80% they stay put. I mean, you never know with the Fed. Sometimes they could come in and do something or find something that maybe I didn't catch personally. They could come in and change it. So I'll leave it right about 80%.
They're meeting on Wednesday?
I believe so.
So, I mean, you could have an outlier event literally happen before we finish this recording today. Yeah. And the Feds have to have an emergency meeting. And
yeah, so like we saw it in December, there was a 20% chance they were going to cut rates. And then it bumps up, and then it comes back down. So you never know with the Feds. There could be something that happens tomorrow, the next day, and there could be some black swan event that we had no idea was coming, and just happens.
But more than likely, high probability that rates stay the same.
Yeah, stay put.
Got it. All right. Anything else coming up that we need to really just kind of hone in on or consider as we walk through the next?
I mean, the only economic
2/3 of the quarter.
Yeah, only economic data I have really that is pretty interesting to me is jobless claims still near historic lows. So, nope, not really people making too many jobless claims out there. The economy is kind of holding where it was at. near the end of December of last year. So we're really just staying put for now. Nothing too incredibly crazy, just besides gold and silver having a pretty historic run.
Yeah.
But I'm still bullish for 2026, just as the same as I was for 2025. But as we inch closer to that, like I said, 100-year cycle, now I'm not going to say it's going to be 100% just like the Great Depression. Like we said, it leaves clues.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm taking a little bit more risk off the table as we edge closer into the 2020s get later in their life cycle. So if we're getting closer to 2029 or 2028, and even China in 2027 said they may invade Taiwan in 2027.
Yeah, spring of 2027, they've instructed their military to be ready. So I think that's something we have to pay attention to going into the last 2 quarters of 2026.
Yeah, it could.
Would you agree?
Yeah, that's something you have to pay attention to. It could cause that could be like your black swan event if they come in and they invade Taiwan, just like how the market reacted to Russia invading Ukraine in 2022.
On the cryptocurrency side, what's going on with Bitcoin?
Bitcoin had a pullback, again, Bitcoin is one of those things where us on the Schwab platform, it's kind of hard for us to have exposure if I'm not using ETFs to try to track the exposure of Bitcoin. You can find correlated assets to it, like MicroStrategies is a lagging indicator of Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes down, you'll see a couple of days later that MicroStrategies is going to respond to it. But it's a decentralized currency. It's hard for us to have that inside the portfolio unless we were managing it on another source. Right now here at our office, we don't have the manpower to.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but you're dealing with a decentralized
currency.
Asset class and currency.
It would be a lot of, and our expertise.
There's going to be a lot of people out there who disagree with us that it's a currency.
Mm-hmm.
One that comes to mind is Jamie Dimon. He is totally poo-poo, even though that might be in their portfolio.
But my thing now is if you use any sort of Apple Pay on your phone, you're using cryptocurrency.
Or you're using blockchain.
Yes.
More appropriate. But, yeah, I mean, I've got both, right? And to your point, if you use a wallet, a digital wallet, you're dealing in the world of blockchain and the crypto world in general.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, I was just telling clients the other day when we were in a joint meeting that I now just picked up a credit card through Coinbase.
Mm-hmm. Where you get a little piece of Bitcoin as
and so as I spend, 2% of that comes back and just buys Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like through my spending, I'm dollar cost averaging into that cryptocurrency. That's not investment advice and not telling people to go out and buy it and do it. But there are ways for you to have some exposure there without having direct capital dollars in those accounts. So food for thought.
Yeah.
Anything in closing?
No, I'm good to go. I think we covered the majority of it.
Awesome. Folks, if you're enjoying this, please, so that you get the updates. Typically, we'll do these on Mondays, but hit the like and subscribe so that you do get these updates and you'll get other content from us as well. Forward this to a friend, a family member. Let them know we're having these conversations. And feel free to leave us some comments in the comments section. So we love you guys. Thank you. We appreciate your support. And we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.